Hey, it's MK, and I am here for a mixed media mayhem layout for you guys today. This is our inspiration that Janet Fritz took while we were on our cruise ship. I'm also playing along with Series 18 for Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches, and today's sketch is by Nadine Michelle. So I am going to also be using my counterfeit kit for this particular challenge. So instead of doing squares, I brought out my cutting system by Creative Memories. And then I also have all of these little leaves and things that are from a advent calendar from 2023, or my advent calendar, I should say. I'm going to bring this little question mark in that says where to next, but I'm quickly going to dismiss it because it does not go with the theme. I'm also going to be using this brick stencil by Pear Tree Cut Files. And then I have these two oxides, hickory smoke and old paper that I'm also going to be using. I'm going to color this dusty attic. I thought that it had a name on the back, but it does not. But I have this little set here. I'm going to color everything off camera and then bring the pieces in. I have a couple pictures of me driving, well, I'm not driving, but going through a tunnel with me and my best friend. And then I have these stickers, which I'm not sure if I add those either, but I brought them in again. I have 3 sheets of cardstock because I'm not exactly sure how many sheets I need to cut my circles. And then I'm going to be using this 49 and Market paper for my background. This is from the Wanderlust Explorer collection. So right there it is. Sometimes I don't share it with you guys because I feel like I've already shown you guys this kit a million times. But this might be your first video and you never saw the kit reveal. So I have to remember, show everything. So I apologize about that, you guys. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the largest circle cutter and cut that using the largest circle template. And then I went with the medium size circle cutter as well and cut that out. And then of course, I just wanted to finish off this piece of paper so I didn't have a random scrap. You guys, I have been over my scraps. And when I say over, it's one of those things where I just really don't want any more scraps. Which kind of makes me sound like Sandy. I don't think Sandy keeps her scraps either. But yeah, I'm a little over it. So I do cut more circles than what I need. So now I've got 2 circles that are the larger size, 1 circle that's the smaller size, and another circle that is the medium size, all using the giant circle cutter. But I have 6 circles. I don't plan on using all 6 circles. And to be honest, I don't even pay attention to what circles I end up distressing. I just start distressing all the circles. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm only going to show you guys this once. It's the same technique all throughout all the circles. And I end up doing more than I should. I think I do all 6, but I only end up using 4. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is just taking my hickory smoke and making the bricks. And this is my interpretation from the inspiration that Janet put for Mixed Media Mayhem. Is she's got a circle and then squares inside it. So now I have a circle with bricks inside it. They're not the same color, but they are the same interpretation. And that's where I went with it, but then I will interpret it a little bit more once I actually get to the layout. This does end up being quite a long layout as far as video goes, because there was a lot of things that I felt needed to be in the video for you guys to see how I got to that point, as opposed to me just trying to fast forward and here you go, there it is. So I've got all of my circles done in the exact same manner. Then I went and colored all of my chipboard pieces all on my own. I did not share with you guys how to do it. I didn't even turn the camera on to record it. It was just taking my inks and inking them all up. And then I love this paint swatch that also came with this little set. So I took all the inks, or all the oxide inks that I used, and I made a little swatch. So now here's the color palette that I used to create this little set, and I absolutely love that. I thought that was awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and scatter my circles from one side of the layout to the other, just like in Nadine's sketch. And then I'm going to quickly try to attach them together, making sure that all of my bricks are attached. And then I'm going to outline them because I want to put a little shadow on. Now I thought about inking the edges a little darker. I thought about distressing the edges, but then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't really know where I'm going with this just yet. I'm just going through the motions at this moment, you guys. This is a one step at a time layout. I had no clue after this point, what was I going to do next, right? After I made the circles with the bricks inside, what was I going to do next? Well, my next step was I needed to tear them out just like Nadine's sketch. So I went ahead and I did that. Okay, well, what's my next step? And I thought about, like I said, distressing the edges of the circles and inking the edges of the circles and making them a little bit more bulkier. But then I thought that might be too bulky. That might be too much for what I want to do for the layout, which I don't know what that is just yet. So instead, I decided I was going to have a shadow behind all of my little bricks going on here. So that is what I'm doing now. I'm just taking my blending tool, starting on the inside of my pencil line and barely working on to the outside of my pencil line. So it makes a nice little shadow going on. I'm trying not to make it the same all the way across. It's okay if it's a little lighter in places, a little darker in places, but I feel like this is awesome because it makes those circles just look like they're floating off the page. I love that. So then I decided, well, how am I going to put all my pictures on? She put all of her pictures inside one of those little squares, and I did not want to make these pictures that small. I knew that I wanted to make a big picture and then a couple little pictures and things like that. So I ended up with these 4 pictures. Well, this one here is a little blurry, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. And now I've got my going into the tunnel, in the tunnel, coming out of the tunnel pictures. And I thought, okay, this is perfect, but I don't like where they are. So what do I do with where the pictures are? So I'm going to go ahead and stack them up going along the circle. So I've got, them in order, but they're going in the circle. And instead of making the pictures all the same size, I went ahead and kept them small, even though the tunnel kind of looks like it. Well, now I thought I should have started with the larger circle on the top, and it got smaller on the way out, and I quickly dismissed it. I was like, nope, it's going to be the same no matter how I put the photos on. They're all going to get covered up no matter what in the end. So there is my final attempt at putting all of my photos on. I don't think I have my circles glued on just yet. I don't think I've done that, but I started with these stickers because, well, they are stickers for one. They are leaves printed on clear, shiny stickers. I don't like the fact that they're shiny, but I do like the fact that they are printed on clear, and I can tuck them in and they look like a really fancy die cut of some sort. So normally I would actually fussy cut around how much white is on there, but it doesn't bother me on this layout because I think I'm putting it on a darker section, a darker base. And so the shiny doesn't bother me as much as if I was to put it on a lighter base. I don't know why, but yes, I used to fussy cut out all of that extra around the images. So here very quickly, I was trying to get as full as I could with all these leaves and things, and I completely forgot about all this chipboard surrounding me. Very quickly did I forget. I have all the fern leaves picked out and tucked in, and where I think I want clusters. I'm getting ready to put everything else away, and then I realize, oh, I've got all of these pieces. Like, what am I doing? So I thought, okay, I'm going to start with putting all the pieces down and seeing what they look like. I've got these awesome wood pieces and whatnot, and here's where I decide, oh, I have way too many of these stickers. Just way too, I went nuts on these stickers. So I have to rethink those just a little bit and pull them out. And there we go. That looks better. And then I'm going to take some of the chipboard pieces and put them behind the stickers, on top of the stickers, in between the stickers, and just really blend everything together. Do I want this log to cover up the circle hump, or do I want it behind the circle? I mean, I just really need to take a long time figuring out how I want this to look. Well, as I'm building this, that the Explorer was going to be my title, by the way. I say was, it quickly changes. Um, it doesn't quickly change, but it changes eventually. So here I am putting all these tiny little elements and pieces on this layout and trying to maneuver them to the best of my knowledge and try to adapt this layout to everything I want to put on this page, which is not everything I pulled out, by the way. It was just how I wanted it to look. And by the time that I get to the mushrooms, I realize there's no way I'm going to be able to take all of this stuff and put it on and then not have the circles glued on the page. So I need to do that. I need to glue. I really need to get better at gluing things down instead of testing things first to see if I like it. As soon as I started putting the mushrooms on, I should have realized, well, yes, this is how I like it, and started from there. But I have to tell you, here's where I remember my question mark and then realizing it does not match at all anything else that I picked out of this layout. I thought it looked really good right here. It fits beautifully right there. But truth be told, I just don't feel like it's the right feel for the layout. I love the bricks going around the tunnel, and that is where I drew my inspiration, and the moss and everything growing around the tunnel, and that is where it all started. And then of course I was going to use the where to next as my title, but it's too much city. It's not enough outdoorsy. It's just too much of being, more of a road trip rather than the scenic. I don't know how to describe it, you guys. So here's where I decided, oh my gosh, I need to glue this circle down. And yes, I finally decided to distress my circles. However, I'm not going to distress all of it. I'm only going to distress the parts that aren't on the picture. And could I have distressed after I glued everything down? Maybe, but not the way that I would want it to. I don't know, you guys. I just like distressing. I gotta say, it's hard to not to. It's just like almost the same thing as trying to put a photo mat down on a photo without a photo mat down. I have a hard time doing that. Kudos to those that can. I love it. They are, everybody's layouts are fabulous. I just can't do it. I have to have my photo mats, you guys. All right. And I know I talked about that in another video as well. So I'll get off my soapbox. So now that everything is glued down, I am very happy with how my circles are distressed now. I have to definitely remember how I have all of these leaves and things. I'm hoping that I put them in the right spot and have everything going where it's supposed to be going. But it, in the end, it does end up looking just fine, even though it wasn't exactly how I had it. I do like the fact that now my circles are cut off and I can actually see where the end of my embellishments are allowed to go so they don't fall off the page and get caught up in the page protector. So I'm super stoked about that. And yeah, I'm just trying to go back through and put all of my logs where they belong. And then I think this is where I actually start gluing everything down for you guys, because everything is a trial and error. Everything is on top of each other. And especially when you're working with chipboard, it is much harder to lay everything out and get it to where you want it. To be able to see everything because of all of those layers. It is definitely very hard. I don't remember where this tunnel was. I want to say it's on our way between, I might be wrong, but I think this tunnel was when we went and crossed, no, that was the bridge. So I can't remember if this is in Oregon or if this is in Washington, but it was super fun. Every time we saw a bridge, my girlfriend would let me know miles before so I could get the camera ready, because all of the bridges in Oregon and in Washington were so fabulous. Like the architecture of them, you just saw time being put into them. It wasn't just, here's a bridge. It was artwork. It was beautiful. And so, of course, I took lots and lots of bridge pictures, loads of bridge pictures. And of course, I think this is my only tunnel picture, to be honest, but I do like how it looks. I love how the tunnels look, and then I've got my circles on the page and whatnot. So I'm super stoked with how everything's looking. I'm just being very picky on how it's all laying out, like what exactly needs to be on this layout. But I don't want to throw everything on this layout, if that makes sense. So, okay. I've got my decisions made on the fern leaves in the chipboard, on the wood planks. I have the little spiky plants, whatever those are, all picked out. And then, of course, I started with a couple of the mushrooms, but quickly decided that I should start gluing everything down. I really should, just because of the fact that it's, like I said, layering everything on top of each other is almost impossible. You're going to have to just pick it all up anyways. So here I go, starting to glue everything down. I'm using the mushrooms to cover up seams and bits and pieces where things overlap, and they don't look like they're cohesive. And so that little mushroom just planted right there makes it look like, especially this little plant down at the bottom, makes it look like that one fern leaf is a match to the cluster of fern leaves, even though I really cut it apart and I ended up using two different pieces. And so that mushroom helps make it look a little seamless. And then, of course, the same with the little spiky bush on top of the log. The mushrooms going on top are also allowing me to cover up a little bit of that seam, so it's not quite so obvious. And it looks like the mushrooms are growing out of the logs. And then I do try to put the mushrooms behind the logs and in front of the logs and things like that. So it looks like the logs have been, I say the word logs a lot. It looks like they have been, resting on the forest floor forever. And so everything's just growing around it, which is my favorite thing, you guys. I love seeing all the different things, moving around and bending to reach the light, basically. In my gear garden, I have the same thing. I have flowers behind my gears and in front of the gears, and everything is just, bending around the gears to try to get to the light. And I just absolutely love, I don't want to call it a struggle, but I absolutely love seeing that, because it's just so unique how everything is drawn towards the sun. And so anyways, it's my favorite. All right, so I am finishing off gluing. I am using my tweezers. I don't usually use my tweezers, but I did decide to use my tweezers on some of these pieces because I want the glue to be, I don't want to say everywhere, but yes, everywhere. And of course, I don't want to get my fingers all sticky when I'm trying to work with this, especially with these clear pieces, because of the fact that once glue gets stuck on the clear pieces, it's an eyesore. It like becomes this gummy, sticky, yucky that I don't know, like it sticks out like a sore thumb, basically. And so I try to avoid that when I can and if I can. And this little project here seemed very tedious in one word, but I have to say that it turned out way better than I expected it to. I absolutely love it and how it turned out. All right, so now that I've got my main elements glued on, I am going to finish with the inspiration from the Mixed Media Mayhem and have some of my bricks, per se, come out of the circles. And so conveniently, this little chipboard set had these little bricks. And so I thought, perfect. I can do all these little bricks and they can come out just like the inspiration, where you've got the bricks inside the circle and then of course bricks outside of the circle. And so that is what I did right in the center of my layout. I will get those glued on. This is my new title right here. It says See the World, and I love it. I absolutely thought that was perfect. And then I have this little teeny tiny one that just says Road Trip that I'm going to tuck in at the end of the tunnel, and just because that's where you could see most of the road. And then I've got a couple other pieces that I pull from that sticker sheet now that I'm thinking about it. Once I am done gluing down my little bricks. I love this. I love that it's just a tiny little brick accent. I didn't throw on, like a ton of bricks to where it's going all the way across one page. I just like how it's just right there and in the center and sticking close to the circles. I really do love that. And then I've got this little sticker here that I believe is a globe sticker. So I'm going to put that somewhere by the camera up there. And then I think I cut out a geotag, if I'm thinking correctly. I'm going to try to glue this down, but I get too much glue on the outside and I have to fix that. Yep, see it? You can see that white blob. So I'm going to cut out a little geotag from its circle family and figure out where to put it. I'm going to distress it really quick because my cutting was not perfect. Here's where I have to take out some of that glue. It was what happened was I was re-gluing down a couple things because it was on top of the lip of the circle and it was distressed. So I went ahead and I put that little geotag at the top of my last photo, and that is my layout for today. I absolutely love it. It's not as bulky as I would think that it is, but it turned out way better than I thought it was. I love the stair-stepping look from it. It is just awesome. I love it all. I really do. I could probably buy about 20 of these little dusty attic sets and still use them in different multiple ways. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Nadine, thank you so much for a very, very interesting sketch. And to me, it was quite the challenge. I did leave a couple things off from your sketch, but I feel like I did a great job. If I don't say so myself, thank you. Toot toot. And don't forget to check out all the links that I have down below for Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, as well as Mixed Media Mayhem. And then I have links down below for the Counterfeit Kit forgers that are playing along with their kits. I don't know if some of them use their kit all month long or if they only use their kit for the challenges that are listed in their Facebook group. So if you go check out their Facebook group, then you will be able to see what the challenges are and when they take place for their kits. So like I said, I'm not really sure exactly how that works with the Counterfeit Kit group. I just knew that I made such a huge kit that I decided to use it all month long. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I truly appreciate it when you stop by and see what I'm up to, and I will check you guys all later. Bye.